Get ready to amplify your light and shine bright because it's about to get real. Join Spencer Jones, the Prince of Positivity, and get energized with this episode of the Jonesin For Show. Let's go! Hey, Energizer. Welcome to this episode of the Jonesin For Show. I am super excited to have you here, as I always am, because, you are so amazing. You are awesome. You are incredible, worthy, and enough just the way you are. And we have a special guest joining us who is just as awesome, just as incredible, and doing amazing, incredible things for leaders and for people who just want to center themselves, be the best that they can be. And he's taking it from where he lives in New York and going all across the country and hopefully the world with his vision. And I'm just super excited to bring him on, have him share his love, his energy with all of you, because you are going to fall in love with him just like I did. So without further ado, please help me welcome Sifu Raphael Gomez to the show. Thank you so much for being here, Rafael.
Wow. When you were introducing me, I thought you were talking about somebody else. I was excited to hear who you were going to have on your show. I was super excited. I'm like, I want to meet this guy. Wow.
Well,
Thank you so much
excited.
for such, thanks so much for such great words. And we just basically met. So I'm actually thrilled to get to know you.
Well, thank you. I'm super excited to get to know you more too. And as you said, we recently met. So we met part of the Connected Leaders Academy CLA group that our friend Jose Escobar has put together. And we got connected at a virtual coffee and we got to know each other more through there. And then another coffee when we got to chat even more. And it was just so cool to see the stuff that you are doing and hear your story and all the stuff that you're doing, right? So you have a gym where you help people train in martial arts, like a 10,000 square foot gym, something I can't even fathom at the moment. And I can't wait to get out there and see it. So I know a little bit of your story, but obviously you are new to all of our Energizers, as you are welcome to join our family. And so how about you share a little bit about you? What brought you from where you were and all the things you went through to where you are today?
Wow. Well, when we think about the people in our lives that affect us, either positive or negative, it's what we take from them, right? So I have been fortunate that I've had both people help me up and push me down. And sometimes you got to wonder, why are they pushing me down? Wait a minute, are they trying to help me? Oh, I get it now. They're trying to knock me out, put me down, bury me, so I can learn how to dig myself out of this situation or come to a better place. So it's all those people that I want to thank who have been in my life, who have touched me in one way or another to let me know that there is a gift in me. And that gift is to just impact more people, to show them the beauty that's in them.
That's amazing. And you're right. We look towards the people, and we think of, okay, the people who have been there for our life. We think of the positive influences, right? The people who have supported us, encouraged us, challenged us in positive ways. But rarely do we think of the people who put those obstacles in our way or made us feel dark or bury us, to use your terminology with it, so that we can grow that beautiful flower. But we need those people as well. And it all depends on our mindset, how we take it. How are we taking the good? How are we taking the bad? And how are we using all of that to learn and grow and become an even brighter Energizer?
Yeah.
So,
and you have to really, if you don't take the lessons in a positive way, there's only one other way to take it, right?
that's true. That's very true.
Yes.
So who are you? What do you do for fun and for life? And how do you shine your light?
My gosh, gratitude is the first step for me. So like I said, I'm grateful for every experience I've had, good, bad, and whatnot, right? Some are exceptional. Some are like, when can I get out of this situation? But who am I? I am the person who finds joy in everything. If it's raining, if it's snowing, if it's a storm, There's beauty in all of that. And I found out that when I can start to see beauty in everything, then I'm finding joy every day. And people say to me, like, you're an odd bird. I'm like, yes, thank you. And one of the things is when we think about our life experiences, we can be down, but we should always, when we're down, we should look for a way up. And when we're up, we should also look down to see who else is down there. Maybe we can bring them up. So I'm the kind of person that I find joy and beauty in everything and every person. And somebody said to me not too long ago, well, many times they've said to me, you like everybody, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, but that person did you wrong. Yeah. But if I continue to have that negative thought, they're going to continue to do me wrong over and over and over again. They've hurt me once, but if I allow that energy to consume me, then how am I going to have this brightness in me? And you ask me, how do I energize myself? I energize myself through connections, through you, meeting you, and allowing myself to be in your presence, to get to know you, for you maybe even to get to know me a little bit, because to know me, it's going to take your lifetime, because I have so many stories, you have so many stories, so we can't know each other really well in a 20-minute or 3 hours or 20-hour instance. We need to really spend time together, right? What makes us tick? That's what fascinates me. That's what gets me energized. People energize me. So how do I stay active? By my habits, the things I do every day. You've seen some of my postings. And why do I post every single day? Because I want to encourage someone to get out of their own way. You know, somebody who's in the middle of their life, and we don't know where the middle of your life is. You would only know that if you know when your end date is, right? But we don't know. Somebody can die at 50, so their middle of their life was 25, right? Somebody can die. My great grandfather lived to be 113. If somebody said to him when he was 78, when was the middle of your life? He could have said 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Don't know, but we don't know that. So do we live every day as if we're in the middle of our life or in the beginning of our life? Spencer, I want to invite you to my 100th birthday party, because I'm going to have a blast that day. And I want people there who are going to energize me, because that's not the end of my life. That may be somewhere towards the end of my life, but it may be 20, 40 years later, because I want to beat my great grandfather who lived to be 113. So I'm energized by the people I meet, the things I do, my habits. Sometimes even the food that fuels me energizes me. So everything energizes me.
I love that. Love that mindset. And you can count me in. I'm there for your 100th birthday party. It's going
Awesome.
to be a blast. We're going to energize you. You're going to energize me. It's going to be truly amazing. And so
Yes.
I can wait for that day, but I can't wait because it's going to be an exciting day all at the same
Yeah.
time. And a couple things I'd love to pull out and really focus on what you mentioned. You know, the fact that you love or you like everyone, right? And that's what I try to say is that, you know, I love everyone, regardless if they did
Mm.
me wrong. I just might love them from a distance, but I still love them, right? They might have done me wrong and all that. I've learned, I've grown, I've forgiven them, and working at forgiving other people in life. It's a process, but
Mhm.
okay, I love you from a distance. How do you do that? How can you like people who have done you wrong, who have hurt you, and just everyone, the person you have never met before on the street? How can you go up and like them or love them?
Well, I got to go back to, when were they born? Were they a baby? Didn't they smile? Weren't they adorable? Didn't everybody want to pick them up and squeeze them and hug them? I see everybody as a baby who maybe was misguided.
Mm,
And if we can have that frame of mind, right? How were you as a baby, right? Everybody wanted to pick you up, right?
I was
So think about it.
assuming.
The only time you complained when you were a baby is when you either were hungry or you soiled yourself or you were in pain. That's the only time. Later on, life taught you to complain, to be negative, to have all these thoughts, to have these actions that you take because of your circumstances, your situation, the people around you. So when I look at a person and I go, how can I forgive them? I have to say, in reality, they were a beautiful soul to begin with. If they were a baby, would they forgive me? Would I forgive them? And that's where I go. It's a different way of looking at it, isn't it?
It's a very different way. I was just going through people in my life and situations and taking on that perspective, and it's a very different one. But it's such a great way, and I could see that definitely working in the sense of, oh, let's just see them as their true authentic light. Let's see them as that baby when they're just them. They're just them themselves, and we could forgive that. We could work through that.
Right.
But going through life and getting jaded, getting molded, whatever you want to call it here as we go on, okay, people start to have these constructs and they intentionally do you wrong.
Oh
They're
yeah.
they're jerks, they're mean, they're all these things.
They're
And you can
horrible.
still see them as a baby and forgive them, but they're babies that are now affecting you and causing harm. How do you work through that?
Right. Sometimes you know, like if you get on an airplane and there's a crying baby, is that baby making you happy? No.
No.
So we need to avoid it, right? How do we avoid it? So I bring these on the phone, on the airplane with me. And if those don't work, I bring these. And if those don't work, I put ones in here. So sometimes you have to quiet those people who are going to constantly try to harm you. So you have to be able to place yourself in a situation where you either avoid those people, but you learn from every mistake. And if you see them coming, do you stay there and take the abuse? And the answer should be no. You find a different venue, a different avenue, excuse yourself out of the situation. So I'm not saying that every baby is the one that you want to hug. Maybe you want to console them, right? Maybe that baby's crying because the caretaker is not taking care of them. They're saying, hey, just change their diaper. They've soiled themselves, right? So think about an adult, right? The reason they're spewing all this nonsense at you is because they're soiled, right? Somebody needs to clean them. Maybe it's you, maybe it's not you, but maybe you can guide them. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to say, hey, you know what? I understand that you're angry with me and you don't like maybe what I'm doing, or you even don't like my color of my skin. You don't like the fact that I'm Spanish. You don't like the fact that I'm this tall, this thin, whatever it is you don't like about me. I can't change that for you. But what can I do to help you?
Mhm. That's empowering. That's
Mm.
that's an amazing way to look at that and think about that, and knowing even just that perspective of the other person they've soiled themselves. They're uncomfortable, they're in pain, and they're just expressing that in different ways. And as we
Hmm.
could see that and go, okay, I see that this is them in pain or them struggling, and they're voicing that.
Right.
And I might not totally agree with how they're doing it, but I could console them, I could support them, or sometimes it's going to be best just for me to avoid that and know that that's okay, right? Love them from that distance,
That's
right?
it.
Type thing. I love that, and I'm integrating this and thinking how it all aligns and putting it into the framework how I look at life through energy levels and working with people, and I love this. So thank you for that personally. I appreciate that.
Right. Well, you did mention that you are going through a phase in your life where you're considering how you're going to forgive those people in your life.
Mm,
You know, I learned very early on to forgive, but a lot of people don't forgive without bringing it up over and over and over again. So are they forgiving for real? Because
mm,
what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is not forgetting, but letting go, right?
Yes.
Because if you forget, guess what? It's going to happen again. They're going to hurt you again. So don't forget it, but don't harp on it. Because if you harp on it, you keep getting hurt over and over and over and over again. And I made my decision to live my life like this at the age of 18.
You've had a couple of years of practice on that with me. I'm 36, and it's only been the last handful of years when I made that transition personally, and that
Mm,
has helped me a ton. But as I said, I still struggle with that at points. Although now taking exactly what you said, looking at that person as a baby, and just aching, holy crap, that almost instantly wipe that away and going, you know what? It's okay. Because why am I
mm.
giving them my energy, allowing them to re-hurt me over and over again? Although they're not physically there hurting me, I'm doing that.
In
And
your
the,
mind, you
in
are.
my mind, it is
You're the
right,
one
and my
that's
mind doesn't
hurting
know the
you now.
difference. So my mind doesn't know the difference. So let's forgive, not forget that experience,
Correct.
but learn from it. Take the lessons with us and go forward. The other person, and I'll be totally open. The other person that I've been struggling is one person in my life, and that helped a lot. That's probably a couple people, so that has helped as I start working through it. But one of the other ones I'll share is myself, is
Mm,
previous versions of myself who made
mm,
mistakes, right? And I've been forgiving myself, working through it, processing, learning those lessons, and not forgetting them, right? Keeping those lessons and going forward.
right.
So I've made leaps and bounds.
Nice.
But now just taking, thank you, I appreciate that. Now taking the lesson or the idea of, well, let's look at myself as just as a baby, as a person who's like, okay, I was in need of something, I was uncomfortable. That's what
Mm,
caused or led me to complain or do these actions or make those mistakes. All of a sudden, and I mean, as you're talking, it's like the light bulb went on, and I'm going, oh, well, all of a sudden that weight's gone. Like
yeah.
gone, like, no, I forgive you. Like, that's okay. Learn the lesson. You have. You don't need to keep reminding yourself of that. You're
Mm,
you're struggling at the time. You're making those mistakes, making those choices because of the pain you were in, and suffering, and the stuff you were feeling. So now you've worked through that. You let that go. Forgive your previous self for that.
yeah.
That's huge. Have you found that for yourself to be true too, for being able to forgive yourself?
No, I'm perfect. Not. Nobody's perfect. Here's the thing, right? We make mistakes all the time.
Mm,
But the other thing is, and one of the greatest books that anybody can pick up is Cybernetics, right? With Max, I'm forgetting his last name.
not sure. I'm gonna look
I
it up.
have it up in my shelf up here. Let's see, where is it? Here's the thing. I have so many awesome books. I'll get back to it.
No
It's
worries.
it's up there. But or actually I think I took it down because I was reading it in the other room. But here's the thing, I'll read a book not one time, but maybe 30 times. And
Mm,
every time so I just wanted to show you my journals. This is only a few of my journals that I write almost in every day
wow.
because when I read something or I listen to something, I go and jot it down. And then I think of it, and then I rewrite it, and then I rewrite it, and then I rewrite it until it comes into something of meaning for me.
Mm,
But one of the things is he talked about living with your mistakes and then remaking those mistakes because you did not forgive yourself for the mistakes that you've made in your life. That's how he didn't say it in those words, those are my words, right?
right.
But if we don't forgive ourselves for our mistakes, if we don't even recognize that we're making a mistake,
Mm,
that's huge. So when we think about our mistakes, but then also the mistakes of other people, and maybe that's how they hurt us. So one of the things that I teach, even the from the 3-year-olds all the way to, I've had people who are 102 that I've taught, and the beauty of teaching somebody who's 3 years old is they're very inquisitive. Here's the other thing about teaching somebody who's 102. They were also very inquisitive.
mm,
That's why they live to be 102, right? I lost touch with them because I was doing a program in the park. I was teaching Tai Chi, and I had about 8 of them who were 102. I think there was one 98, 99, 101. I was teaching all these. I had about 100 to 125 seniors that I was teaching in the park Tai Chi. And the fact that they showed up every time, and the fact that most of the time it was the oldest ones that used to come to me and be inquisitive. Can you show me that move again? How's it going? How's the breathing? And so the fact that they inquired and they were inquisitive and wanted to know more is because we die the minute we want to know more. We need to continue to grow. So we make mistakes. You and I are going to make mistakes next year, 10 years from now, but we should learn to correct them. And hopefully when somebody tells us we made a mistake, don't blow them off, but take a minute and go, let me think about that. And maybe if you think, no, I didn't make a mistake, just reflect and go, I'm going to put that down. I'm even going to write it down, because maybe I don't agree with you today, but tomorrow I look back at it and I go, holy cannoli, that was a mistake. Or maybe it was a mistake for them, but not for me. Or it was a mistake for the situation or the timing, but it wasn't a mistake overall. So this is how we start to explore our own lives. This is getting to know who we are. And the most important thing I teach everybody is, if you allow somebody to come and hurt you, and you allow the hurt to internalize, then you've given up your power. And the minute I give you my power, I'm powerless. So you can come scream at me at the top of your lungs and even yell at me and even hit me or strike at me or whatever. But if I allow that negative energy to enter me, I just gave you all the power. Now, the minute I yell back at you, I also gave away my power. But if I respond back to you in a calm way, I didn't give you my power. I still have my power. So a lot of people who've known me for personally I have close quarter, right? If you ask any of them if they've ever seen me mad, in unison, they'll probably say no. One of them may say, somebody who's known me for 20 somewhat years or 30 years, they'll probably say maybe once. Why? Because at 18, I refused to give my power away.
Hey, Energizer. I want to cut in here really quick before you start this episode of the Jonesin For Show to let you know something really, really cool. And that is, we launched another podcast. That's right, we launched another podcast called, you ready? The Daily Energize. That's right, The Daily Energize is available on all streaming platforms, right? So however you like your podcast, go find us. What is The Daily Energize? It is your daily jolt of positivity, of energy, where I offer you tips, tricks, strategies, stories to help you crush your day. All the shows are roughly 5 to 10 minutes long, right? So on your commute to work or in your lunchtime, whenever you want, you could pop it in, listen to it, get a little jolt of energy so you can keep crushing your day. Again, it's called The Daily Energize, and I would love it, absolutely love it and appreciate it if you can subscribe. And heck, share it out with your friends. Give them a little jolt of energy. All right, on to today's episode. That's huge, and something a lot of people don't realize is the fact that you give your energy away when you allow that negativity in, that negative energy. When you allow that in, you give away our power. And for I would say that sadly, probably the majority of people, especially people in the United States, we give our power away without even realizing it. I mean, but probably the world, like let's be honest, right? Probably the world, we give our power away without even realizing it. And that, okay, well, just is what it is. Well, someone's berating me. Well, now I feel bad. I feel guilty. Well, why are you letting them have that power? And then the flip side of that too, of, well, now I'm going to respond in anger, in frustration. Okay, but this person's yelling at me. I'm going to yell back because they're yelling at me. You've just given away your power. And that's a hard thing for a lot of people, right? All it does is escalates it, as opposed to, all right, let me pause and reflect. Let me
Mm,
say something calmly to diffuse that, or what we can do to help minimize that and not give away my power, to still be like, nope, this is where I am at. And so for me, you don't know this yet about me, but you're going to learn, is that I used to have quite the temper. Like, I would go from
mm,
happy, whatever, to angry and pissed off in seconds flat,
really?
depending on who was talking to me, what was said. Little things would tip me off. And it was crazy. Now that I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, all of the people and things I gave my energy to, my power to, I was
Mhm.
powerless in so many ways because I kept giving it away to other people. And then when I finally said, okay, nope, this is me, this is my control, a lot more level-headed, right? People can still come at me, yell at me, and complain or whatever, but I get to choose if I let that in. But usually what I do when that happens is I go more reflection mode, like you said. Well, is that true? Is this thing, where do I believe? I remember I had someone yelling at me, or accusing me of stuff on social media, right? Something small, but something a lot of people face nowadays. And like, I could have taken that personally and really gotten down on myself. But I paused. I didn't respond right away to that person. It was hilarious and awesome because we had other Energizers come to my defense and start
Right.
commenting for me, which was very, very kind. But as I'm sitting here and reflecting on what they're saying, I'm like, is that true? Do I really believe what I said in that post? I really stand behind that? And I'm thinking, reflecting, and for about an hour. And then over that reflection time, I realized, yeah, I do believe that. And not only do I believe it the amount I believed it then, I believe it 5 times more, because I reinforced my belief on it after I thought about it, and gave it even more energy. So I'm like, oh, yep, this is right. And so then I was able to respond in a nice, respectful way. And the other Energizers helped it. I thank them and appreciate their support, but also, like, let's just diffuse this. We don't need any arguments or anything like that. So it's amazing what happens when you take your power back. So
Yeah.
how can you do that if someone's berating you, if you're feeling down, or even if someone targeted you on Facebook or some social media,
Oh,
you're
I've
letting
had
that
that.
power. How do you keep that to you?
I've had that. Before I answer that, let me tell you that I too had terrible temper tantrums as a child.
Mm.
I'm Colombian. So in Colombia, the walls were built out of not sheetrock, if you will. They were
Okay.
solid walls.
Mm.
For some reason, when I used to get mad, I used to bang my head on the wall. Where if you were on the second floor, you're like, what is going on? The house is shaking. For some reason, I didn't hurt my head. Thank God. Or maybe that's why I'm crazy. I don't know, one or the other. Right. But, and it was constant. It was so bad that in Colombia, they took me out in the courtyard. They held me down and poured big tubs of cold ice water over my head, over my head, over my head, over my head. And I felt like it was hours and hours, and I was crying, hysterical, getting angrier and angrier and angrier, and it wouldn't stop. And I'm like, I'm going to drown here, right? I'm a little
Right.
kid, right? And then they let go of me and the water stopped. Nobody consoled me. Nobody. And what they did is they left. And I was in a big courtyard, and they were like, these couches, outdoor couches. So I went behind a couch and I cried myself for a long time. And that was the last time I had a temper tantrum. Now, don't get me wrong. I used to get mad as a kid. I used to have all these feelings, all these things. But that was in Colombia. I went through a lot of different stages in my life. So when we think about how do we handle things, and one of the beauties of water is it's calming,
Mm.
isn't it? It's calming. This is why when people start drinking all these chemicals that they put into their body, Did I just say chemicals? I meant soda. Of course, I meant all these different things that are going into their body. Meanwhile, there's this beautiful thing called H2O. We even have a cool name for it, right? Water, H2O. When we can consume that, it calms you, right? So a lot of times when somebody has a panic attack, what's one of the things that they should have? Breath, air, right? And water.
Right.
Those are the two things that are going to calm them down. A nice cool drink or a warm drink, whatever it is, right? If you ever watch The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon always says, if they're upset, give them a warm beverage, right? So he'll make them a nice tea or something.
That's fun.
But when we think about how do we respond to somebody who's negative to us, I've had people on Facebook, um, they said something really negative in a martial arts thing that I was on. And they kept saying negative things. And this was a private community.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. I took more than an hour. I let it go. But it kept going. It kept going. I said, okay. So I responded. I mean, a long response, very articulate. And then I said, I started with, I'm extremely sorry if I offended anybody on this. And I went right into it. And I tell you, after that post, the moderators from the thing said, if this ever happens again, now they don't allow anybody to post unless they, which was a good thing. They have to view the post first, see it before it can go live, right?
Right.
And so it was becoming a negative thing. And so I put this one in, and I didn't post there anymore because the moderators not only allowed the person to continue for a little bit, but they didn't even penalize or not even mention the person. And then I said, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate everybody. Have a great life. And that was it. I don't need negativity in my life, and I don't need to even harp on it. Or this is why if I'm a part of a community, I get invited to so many communities, I'm sure you do too, that I go on, I click on it, but I look around first and I see what content are they putting up there. If it's any negativity, any hate, any this, any that, I don't want to be part of that community. And so even if I join it and it looks good, but I start seeing negative things, I'm out. And then the other thing is I have tons of requests for friendships on Facebook. And I'm like, okay, besides all the sexual nonsense that people are trying to get you to be part of, right? It's ridiculous.
Right.
I obviously delete all those, but then I have tons of people, and I go in there and I go, okay, you've never made a post. How do I know who you are? I don't bother with you. And then if you're all political, if I associate with you, I'm already tied to your political opinion. So no, I'm out. If you're extremely, in one side of an argument than the other, I'm out. I want to go to a place where people are heart-centered. This is why, Jose's communities are great, because he's there to empower people. This is why, you and I connected, because we're there to empower people, to help people sometimes get out of their own way, right? We're the most complex creature in the world. We create habits that don't serve us.
So true.
We create habits that hurt us. We create habits that hurt other people. So, but we're the only creature that does that, right? All other animals, what are their habits? They have to find a place to live. They have to find food, and they have to procreate, right? They have to make more babies.
Right.
That's the habits they're living by. They're living to survive. We should live to survive and to help others survive. But the habits that sometimes we create for ourselves hurt us. So I'm a big habit guy. So and here's the thing, I don't let the habits of my life rule me. I control my habits. So, for example, this morning I came back from the gym and I said, wait a minute, when I left the house, which shoe did I put on? Because I walk into my house, I don't walk in with shoes in my house. In my foyer, I take off my shoes. So I'm like, which shoe did I put on before I came in the house? Or which one did I take off? So I always switch it. I'm like, I'm not going to be into, maybe this week I'm going to do right shoe first. And then, next week I'll do left foot and then I'll switch it over. And then also it's like, did I do this first? No, I'm going to do that second. So I'm always looking at what habits I'm doing. Because if I'm conscious of my habits, then I know what my actions will be like. So your habits, they determine who you are.
It's so true. We are one of the few, well, the only creature in the world that have those habits and intentionally create them. And as I said before, sometimes we don't intentionally do those things. Like we don't intentionally give our power away because we're not aware of it. We create habits without being aware of it. And some of them are beneficial. Many of them are not, and some of them are just here or there. And so if we could be intentional about it, be focused on, okay, is this supporting us? Is this helping us be our best and supporting the people around us? It makes such a big difference. And I love your awareness of, oh, what habit am I doing? I'm going to switch it up, to mix it up. So it's not that you're totally throwing out the habit, but you're just keeping that awareness there. You're being very intentional about it so that the rest of your life, right? Extremely intentional, so that everything is intentional in your life, which is amazing. And same thing with the communities you surround yourself with and in. Like you can curate your life in so many ways. I curate my social media feeds by only joining those communities who are positive or supportive, people I want to have pour into me. Same thing with friends, in person, on social media, all those things, the communities and groups I go to. I don't want to surround myself with negativity. No, I want to do it with positivity. So I intentionally surround myself with those people and put myself in those places. And if it's good for a bit and then it starts changing, hey, that's good. I appreciate you. I love you all, but I'm out. I don't need that.
Exactly.
And so same thing with the habits. Let's do those habits that are helping us be our best. And oh my gosh, we could keep chatting and go into habits and down that rabbit hole and so many more. This has been absolutely amazing. I've loved getting to know you more, and I can't wait to continue to get to know you more. I'm sure Energizers are feeling the same way. How can they connect with you?
Oh, it's pretty easy. On my social media, Sifu Raphael is on Facebook. Instagram is Fitness by Rafael. You can reach out to me. It's cal.com /Sifu Raphael, and this /15min, which means 15 minutes just to get to have a conversation. You're gonna have a coffee with me, virtual coffee. And if you're close enough, I listen, I'm Colombian. I love coffee. So,
I love it. Love it. Love it. Well, yeah, all those links, if you didn't catch those right here and now, they'll be in the show notes. Just go to spencermjones.com and find this episode, click that, and then you will find all the links and synopsis of our chat today. So, Sifu, this has been amazing. I'm so incredibly grateful for you, to getting to know you and just to have your energy. And I can't wait to get to know you more and visit you up in New York and have a cup of coffee and just be around you. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have to come to Heroes Rising that we're doing in July 13th through the 16th. It's going to be an amazing event.
Nice. Is that the one you were talking to me about before happening?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Glad we have
Jose
dates
and I
now.
are putting it together. It's Heroes Rising Peak. So at the peak, think about everybody that you know who is amazing, right? But there's also people who are not amazing yet, but they're a hero in waiting.
I love that. Love that. What are the dates on that again?
July 13th through the 16th.
Perfect. Well, Energizers, you heard him. If you're ready to celebrate, be that hero and hero in the waiting, and want to join me there, go on the website, contact Sifu Raphael, and get all the details so we can be there together. And I'm looking forward to that and can't wait to continue this amazing conversation. So with that, thank you so much for being here, sharing your love and energy with all of us. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Energizers, be intentional with your life. Don't give your power away. Keep it for you, right? Be intentional with who you surround yourself with, the habits you have, and the power you have and what you do with it. Remember, you are amazing. You are worthy. You are enough of all of that and more. So keep being you, keep shining your light. And until next time, we'll catch you later.